I'm going to pose to you two different angles of this, and you tell me how they can both be true. How is it possible that the Chiefs could be better this season than they were last year, but then also the Chiefs will not three-peat?
Yeah, I think before I get to the answer, I just want to say I'm pumped we're doing this segment. I hope it's a segment we keep. Last week we were on a call with one of our bosses, Matt Efford, and he said that when you think about segments, think about your verbal tics, think about things that you say all the time. And I'm like, immediately I just put in my notes, like, two things can be true, or both of these things can be true, because I feel like what drives me crazy in a lot of sports talk, and maybe I'm just, I don't know, not cut out for it because a lot of people like it, is these, well, this is the answer. Almost never is that the case. There's usually room for nuance almost everywhere. So yes, I totally agree. And I think from the Chiefs standpoint, the offense has to be better, right? Remember how bad the offense was last year? Remember how much it struggled? Remember how Mahomes didn't have anyone to throw to? I know that they've had a gazillion off-field issues this offseason. I still think with Xavier Worthy that should be better. I still think that Andy Reid's going to be like, oh, here's where I wasn't 100% last year in my scheme. And I think the defense should be really good. Yes, they lost L'Jarius Sneed, but also they got Chris Jones back. They've got enough of that foundation of the defense that I think that they should be a more balanced team. And it's so funny going back to what Brady and the Patriots did is the number of times they'd be like September, October, and they'd be like, ooh, that doesn't look good. Did they finally lose it? Did they finally go off a trail? And then late December, they start rounding into form. January, they're looking really good. And what do you know? They're hoisting another Lombardi in February. I feel like we could see that. Now, I will say, even so, a lot of times it wasn't quite to the Lombardi for Brady. It was more like, oh, conference championship. So I do think that Mahomes is going to go to another conference championship. The guy literally has never not made it to the AFC championship in the years he started. But There's so much variability in the game. And I remember talking to a general manager a few years ago who said, hey, yeah, if we were basketball, if we were 4 out of 7, then the best roster wins. But this game is so much of a game of variability because let's say you're going to win 4 out of 7 times. You have one game in NFL playoffs. And so to make it to the Super Bowl, much less win it, requires health, requires luck, and requires more than just talent. And so this good team, probably not going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I will say, Jori, this is the answer. No, I didn't. You just
I know
you hate that, so I was.
You guys are good at the takes. I'm just never convinced enough in a single take to want to go out on a limb for it.
No, I agree with everything you said, and mostly that if you're giving me the field versus the Chiefs, I'm going to take the field every time. And it's how can you bet against Patrick Mahomes? Well, I did 4 times last year in the playoffs, didn't work out well, but it just goes to show that this Chiefs team wasn't really good last year. It was fine. They were good. I shouldn't say they were good. They were good. They were not great until they had to be great really in the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship game and all that. It's one of those that there's, like you said, so many variables in the game, and there's so many teams that I think have improved in the AFC. I think the AFC is really, really deep again. And to go through the gauntlet of the Bills, the Jets, maybe the Dolphins, I think the Browns are going to be really good. The Bengals, who Fitz have talked about a lot. The Ravens are still around. Who knows? The Texans might be the next Chiefs for all we know. I mean, CJ Stroud was that good that you can have that conversation. It's just hard. There's a reason no team has ever won 3 Super Bowls in a row. And it's just because in a single game elimination, it's hard. I think the Chiefs are much better this year. I think they figured out the receiver room. I think Rashee Rice at some point is going to play football this year after a suspension, which is inevitable. I think the defense is good. I just think, as weird as it sounds to say about the Chiefs, I think they're more confident too. They say, look, we had our issues last year. We still won a Super Bowl. Nothing's going to stop us. So I do think on paper the Chiefs are better, but I don't know. It's just hard. It's hard to do this year after year where you never get tripped up. You never have a bad day. The Bills have been one of the best teams of football, but they just happen to have a bad day or make the wrong decision with 13 seconds left and don't squib kick it or whatever it is.
Just outside.
Yeah, or a kick goes just outside or, all these different things that can happen in the NFL postseason have just not happened to the Chiefs. Credit to them. They've earned their breaks. I get that. But I don't know. Again, give me the field against the Chiefs. I'll take the field every time. I think any reasonable person who knows the odds and all that would.
I think part of this, though, comes to, because you're right. Everything you guys just said is really smart and well broken down. For me, it's that number, and I don't remember what the exact record is, but if my memory serves me correctly, Patrick Mahomes has lost 3 games in his entire career by more than 1 score. I think that's what we were running with last year. So you think about close games. And wherever that number lies, again, Frank and I, as dabblers in the art of gambling, will tell you the number of times you'll sit there and watch somebody, and even if you're betting on flipping a coin, and it comes up heads 5 times in a row. There's going to be a whole group of people that say, well, now it's got to come up tails because it's been heads 5 times in a row. Or there's going to be a whole group of people that's like, well, it's been heads every time. But the reality of it is every single time you got a 50-50 chance. Anytime somebody sat at the roulette wheel and they look up, I was sitting at roulette in Cincinnati like 2 months ago. And the guy walks up to the table, he's like, 31's hot. And the dealer looks at him and is like, every single roll, the odds are the same that you're going to get one of these numbers. No number can actually be hot. Like, there is some element to me of, if you've spent your whole life winning close games, that's part of what makes you incredible. But that's part of why I look at it and say, man, it only takes one weird day for you to not win a Super Bowl. Like, it takes one off day where Allen or Mahomes, Allen, I should say, or Burrow finds a way to get through. And all of a sudden, you don't win a Super Bowl. So I agree. I think they are going to be better, but it's just such a crapshoot to win that game.
You think of some of the games, like, I mean, when James Bradbury doesn't get a holding penalty in that, and the Eagles get the ball back, or San Francisco doesn't have a punt bounce off of one of their blockers, and the Chiefs are like, and I'm not saying the Chiefs are lucky, but they have gotten some breaks. I mean,
better to be lucky than good, Frank.
Helps to have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I get it, but the roulette ball's fallen on 31 for them a lot. Let's put it that way.
Right. Like, and also let's think about it. The likelihood that Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Chris Jones always stay healthy. I get that Mahomes has done a lot, even with ankle injuries through the years, so you can make that counter argument. And I hope that no one gets hurt ever, but they play a violent game where sometimes people get hurt. If any of them suffers even a medium level serious injury, do y'all feel as confident about their ability to close out and make those moments and the plays in the last minute?
Right. And
no.
Mahomes, I was there when Mahomes' knee was on the side of his leg in Denver when he dislocated his knee. And that could have been a season ender. And it was like, oh, no, he's Patrick Mahomes. He's Superman. He's going to be fine.
It'll be a week.
You're right, Jori. Like, injury luck factors into this, too. Sometimes the Miami Dolphins last year caught a ton of injuries at the end of the season. It didn't finish the way they wanted to. What if all their pass rushers stay healthy? It might be a different story. Right. We don't know. But yes, a lot needs to go right to win a Super Bowl for any team, even the great Kansas City Chiefs.
And look, nobody thought that Mike Tyson would ever lose, and then Buster Douglas came along. It only takes one day. So, always take the field.